Professor Anand Prakash is a professor and Dean International Relations, University of Delhi, in the Department of Psychology. He is Doctorate of Philosophy from the University of Allahabad and completed his Masters from University of Gorakhpur. He is an author of many books and also written many research papers in the area of organizational behavior, applied social psychology, qualitative research methods, organizational culture and change management, social responsibility and corporate ethics. Completed 37 years of teaching experience, he has supervised many research in the area of organizational socialization, cultural change and value orientation, meaning of work, well-being and success, change management, and people issues using both qualitative and quantitative methods. He is also honored and awarded by Young Scientist Award, Indian Science Congress in 1987, Career Award from University Grand Commissions in 1993, President National Academy of Psychology in the year 2009-10. He is a member of National Academy of Psychology, NAOP India, Treasurer 1993-1996, President NAOP India 2008-2010. May I call upon our keynote speaker, a very knowledgeable and magnanimous academician, Professor Anand Prakash, to address the audience. Sir, please.
Thank you very much for a very generous introduction, whose time is difficult to believe that it is something read about me. First of all, members sitting on the dais, Professor C.S. Sharma, I'm really thankful to Maharaj Institute of Management for having invited me to speak on a topic, coping with uncertainty. And when Dr. Sharma asked me to be the keynote speaker of this seminar, I said, certainly I will come. But I am going to position my few points of talk as a keynote speaker, keeping in view the audience in focus. An audience primarily consisted of students. That is where I see a greater possibility of new learning. It is always good to be the last speaker, because most of the salient points have already been covered. So nothing much to say. But I must congratulate the people who were behind the choice of the topic. They have thought of very relevant, closely appealing, and very thought-provoking topic, coping with uncertainty. Why uncertainties are to be coped? Why not they be to be invited? This is the first question I would like to throw to all the members of the audience, because the entire growth of human civilization and human development have taken place as a result of struggle to cope with uncertainty. If it is such a great catalyst, if it is such a wonderful stimulant, then why certain kind of negative connotations are attached to the word uncertainty? Look at the whole of the human institutions that have evolved. And certainly I am a psychologist and social scientist, so I'd be speaking from the social and the individual perspective about the idea of uncertainty. The entire human institutions, look at the institution of law, institution of systems, processes, they all have developed and evolved somewhere to enable human beings to respond to the experience of uncertainty. Had there been no uncertainty, maybe things would have not evolved, we would have not arrived where we are right now. I was looking for some kind of a parallel word in Hindi, because a lot has been said about the Indian culture and its capacity to cope with the uncertainty. And I could see that there are tremendous amount of words available in Hindi to represent the central and the peripheral meaning associated with the term uncertainty. Sankat, Afat, Anishchitta, Sankraman, Asamanjas, King Kartabya Mood, Duvidha. And it shows the cultural frame of human mind, that how evolved it is to enable us to cope with the certainty in a better way in comparison to any other frame of mind. See the range of words that has been given. Now, I will just touch briefly some of the elements which are operative at the macro level. Look at the way cultures have evolved. There is no reason that why cultures would have evolved. We would have called ourselves the cultural being. Because the culture programs the mind to create the patterns of behavior. It is the culture which tells that what is to be done in a given situation, in what way it would be acceptable. So human mind gets programmed to respond in a particular way under certain kind of situations. If the situation is changing, then if culture is not able to offer an alternative way of behavior, that is where we experience uncertainty. So culture design rules, culture design regulations, and try to create a pattern behavior. Because the pattern behavior will give us the sense of certitude and therefore make us feel more secure. And security is something that we want to have always in certain amount at an optimum level. And belonging to a particular kind of a cultural group also give us a sense of security and a sense of certainty, which is also called sense of rootedness. So I see a dialectic. I see a kind of dynamic interaction taking place between the uncertainty, the experience of uncertainty, and the evolution of a cultural frame of a mind. Had there not been uncertainty, there would not have been such development and growth into the cultural practices. The second point that I want to draw your attention to, because I know all these points would become a point of a debate in the times to come in the seminar. The second point that I want to bring to your attention, for consideration in the coming days. That when we are looking at the idea of uncertainty, it is very important that we look at the cultural regulations. And here I am reminded of a doha from Ramcharitmanas. Dheeraj dharam mitra runari. And there is a very deep sense of understanding that how you can cope with the uncertainty. Dheeraj dharam mitra runari, afat kal parakhiye chari. What your religion, and dharma not in sense of the religion, dharma in sense of dharma. I will not go into the details of it, but those of you who understand the true meaning of the dharma, which is an inside of you, dharete iti dharma, which you are able to own, which you have taken upon yourself as the righteous way of conducting yourself. So your righteous conduct, patience, of course, dheeraj, dharam, relational network, mitra, and of course your spouse or your family. If they are with you, if they are together, I think they enable you to cope with the challenges of uncertainty in a better way. You are always, anytime, feel more empowered if you have not run out of patience. Check your own patience. When someone is getting late, I can give you numerous examples that how our patience come to our rescue, provided we have plenty of it inside our head, inside our personality. One has to work on the idea of patience. Patience with all shades of richness available to us in our personality. So if you start looking into the cultural frame, then we can be very equipped in terms of dealing with the uncertainty. The third point that I want to bring, and since I am speaking in a business school, and I've heard speakers like Sai Saab who talk about the fluctuating market, changing international policies, right? The transformative regulations, the climate change, all the elements which are continuously trying to create uncertainties as a way of living a life. So if the uncertainty is going to be the order of the day, if the uncertainty is the writing on the wall, then why we are worried about it? Why not embrace it? Why not openly invite it that I am certain for this moment of a time, but I would be uncertain about the another moment of time. This frame of mind, human mind, whether it is the entrepreneurial activity, it is, so look at, in order to cope with it, the amount of effort that we all have made in terms of developing policies, developing processes, developing systems, and developing practices. And we feel that all this help us cope with the idea of uncertainty for a limited period of time. They only enable us to cope with a limited period of time, and then all that become a great liability the moment certain kind of a changes takes place. So we'll also have to keep our negotiation skills. How do we negotiate? How do we negotiate at different levels of our existence, human existence, so that we feel empowered and enabled to cope with the idea of uncertainty. I was searching for a word, right word, that what would be parallel word for a chaos. And I was unable to come any word either in Hindi or Sanskrit which is the exact meaning of a chaos. If any one of you come across a word which comes closer to the idea of chaos, please share with me. But look at the English word or even the Chinese. There are words representing the term chaos. Does it mean that within our own cultural context, within our own frame of minds, which we call Indian, there have been no issues dealing with the uncertainty because culturally we have evolved mechanisms. We have evolved psychological processes, social understandings that how we can cope with the uncertainty. And the famous formulation is being given, we can always keep with uncertainty provided we are able to keep Desh Kal Patra in place. What is the another way of coping with the uncertainty? So you should be sensitive to the spaces, to the landscape. It is the landscape of technology, it is the landscape of politics, it is the landscape of the power arena, or it is the landscape of any other kind. Be sensitive to the spaces in which you are operating. Places, spaces and places where you are operating. Be sensitive to the idea of time. And be sensitive to the kind of person or the kind of people you are dealing. If you have the correct assessment of these three components within a given situation, you would always be better equipped to cope with the challenges of uncertainty, and you will never feel that you are running out of the skills, you are running out of the competence to cope with the uncertainty. You can cope, you can address and feel better. If there is no parallel world to the chaos, it means the people who have made uncertainty an agenda to engage with, are they trying to create that only the human being and the human mind and the human civilization must celebrate the prerogative of control? If you have troubled with the uncertainty, does it mean that we crave to have a better control, and since we crave to have better control over the situation, therefore uncertainty is something that need to be kept away, need to be avoided? Look at the paradox of human existence. And I'm saying it's paradox of human existence that we crave to have certainty, but very quickly when the certainty takes the routine form, it becomes very boring. The moment we try to overcome this routinized pattern, the familiar patterns of living, because the human experience gets saturated very fast. So it is searching for something new and something different. So we often find ourselves into some kind of a paradoxical axes. And the coordinates are two. One, the search and craving for freedom. So we all crave to have tremendous amount of freedom. And at the same time, we all crave to be very sure, very certain and very secure. But they don't go together. These two coordinates don't go together. Look at the jobs. Jobs are great security and great certainty in human life, that I have a job, I earn my salary, I pay my bills and take care of all my expenses. Very certain. But we all know how much of freedom is compromised in doing the job. Look at the marriage. Marriage is a great security. But how much freedom is compromised? Those who are married know it. And those who are not married, right, should not be scared of it. It is always kind of a trade-off between the security, right, and the freedom. This dialectic, this paradoxical dialectic, which keeps us taking place, and that's the very peculiar with the, look at the way the entire development human civilizations have taken place. They all are to gain certain amount of certainty. Whether we want to accumulate unreasonably more wealth, we want to accumulate unreasonably more power, we want to accumulate unreasonably social network, whatever we want to do it, they all are somewhere trying to ensure that we are certain for certain things in life. So certitude becoming a very critical striving in human existence, and we all crave to have that certainty, because the optimum level of certainties are also required for ensuring our existence. The whole idea, the point that I'm trying to make is very simple. Coping with the uncertainty can only be a kind of an approximation. You can only approximate our approach to only this much I am going to engage in order to be comfortable, in order to ensure my existence and survival. But after that, if you crave to have more certainty, believe me, it is going to be disruptive and dysfunctional. No growth, no development, no further human quest can be pursued if there is too much of a craving to be certain. Whether it is a certitude, and certitude also means that something in us getting solidified. And anything which gets solidified in us, whether it is a design, idea, it is an attitude, or it is a truth. If it is getting solidified, believe me, from that moment its devaluation will begin. So in order to be continuously valued, in order to go on doing the value addition, it must be preserved in certain liquid form, it means certain uncertain form. So a lot of things should be certain within us, but lot more things should be uncertain as far as system, because the system, that's where the idea of flexibility comes into the play. So if the flexibility is also optimized in some kind of a rational proportion to the idea of uncertainty, I think the better human quest can be pursued instead of having a total certitude. Look at the technological development. I will not take more time because I know I have another sessions and to talk about it. But look at the way technological growth have taken place in this country. Look at the craving and the demand for innovation is being placed on all of us. Look at the way the government regulations are demanding innovations. Institutions and universities are starting centers for innovations, right? That we must innovate. I was talking to a couple of my friends in the University of British Columbia last May. They all say that India is lacking in innovation and therefore they have difficulty coping with the world market. I was in a conference in the management process. And look at the whole game of innovation. The true innovation is disruptive. In the real sense of the term, all other innovation, that there are evolutionary innovations, one by a step where all the attending systems are also growing with it. So we may start from bullock cart and gradually move to the car, right? And when the car becomes accessible to everyone, then that is the evolutionary innovation. But look at the other innovations. Look at the innovations of the mobile. Look at the innovations of the internet, or some of the innovations that you were talking about in your speech, right? The e-book innovations that have, right? They also have been very disruptive, like the computer innovations. The typewriters have become completely obsolete. They are very disruptive innovations. It means that somewhere the quest from continuously moving from certainty to some kind of uncertainty that is how the human happiness is designed to exist. We cannot remain internally happy. Look at the quest for the spirituality. Look for the search of the God. Look at the whole of the relationship building. This is all done to ensure certain amount of certainty in our own existence. At the same time, right, there is a quest to take it to the next level. It means that the transition, we will have to go through that fear and pain, right? Like looking at our own personal life. When 2 generations ago, my father decided to move away from the comfort of village to search for a better life. He moved from certainty to uncertainty. If we have chosen to do that, we also have moved from uncertainty to certainty to uncertainty. So this dialectic of continuous transition from certain amount of certainty, moving toward uncertainty, trying to reappropriate and reposition so that we can take life to the next level of survival, existence, and growth. This must be understood when we are debating the idea of coping with the uncertainty. Whether it is the calculated risk, whether it is the acceptance, whether it is looking at the present moment, all those formulations which are being given must be seen that an optimum level of uncertainty should also be welcome, because they must be seen as an opportunity for us to try out new things, become innovative, right? Realize unrealized potentials in all of us as a learner, as a human being, as a student, as a teacher. Because if it is too much of a certainty, if where everything becomes predictable, if futures are known, right? If everything is certain, will life be worth living? I leave that question to you. And if not, then what should be the right portion, right amount of uncertainty that I should seek, so that the coping mechanism, the adjustment capacities within us are evolved appropriately, so that I realize the unrealized potential and on a continuous path of a growth. Finally, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to come and share some of my random thoughts, and particularly I am thankful to Dr. Shreya Sharma, who gave me this opportunity to try out and speak about some of those untested ideas with you. Thank you very much.